Hi everyone, Anthony Vest Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Ashnikko mixtape, Demidevil. This is the debut mixtape of one of pop's rising stars at the moment. It's only been a month and she's already having a relatively big 2021 with her new single Deal With It doing some numbers, as well as last year's Daisy still gaining momentum since July. My first impressions of Ashnikko's music is that she successfully blends so many trendy and modern sounds. How could she not pop off? Her tracks feature infectious pop hooks, but also the cool, braggadocious energy of a hip-hop song, backed with the banging, crisp beats of some trap-flavored EDM. Then, as the cherry on top, the bad girl attitude and angst of some modern nu metal or pop punk. I mean, to see this influence most clearly, you don't really need to look much further than the song Later Boy on this thing, which is a hilarious revision of the Avril Lavigne breakup anthem classic Skater Boy. So, looking at her music more broadly, there's almost a little something for everyone in what Ashnikko does. But simultaneously, going into this new tape, I was hoping she would overcome the vocal and narrative limitations of her past EPs. There are points where Nikko seems more hitched to the breakup song formula than even the queen of breakup songs herself, Taylor Swift. There wasn't much left to the imagination too once this thing eventually dropped, because some of the singles were floating around for a bit. On top of it, it's a little short at 25 minutes, but I still went into Demidevil hoping all the material here would point in a general direction, or at least show growth and improvement past Ashnikko's previous stuff. And while it definitely does, I hope what we're hearing here is just the beginning, because there's a deep gap in quality between the major near-perfect highs on this thing and the lows that really show some room for improvement. I think the track list here puts its best foot forward with Daisy, the zany horn samples, the chunky trap beat, the funny ad-libs, the badass verse, plus that cinematic build on the pre-chorus, going higher and higher and higher. But I love the way that Ashnikko pulls back a little bit vocally on that hook. I'm crazy, but you like that. Plus her vibrato at this point in the song is just so strange for a mainstream pop tune. It's unique. From there, the track has a solid structure, good outro too, but the following track, Toxic, is a bit of a dip. The songwriting and production are not nearly as impressive, and while that zany, dark edge is there, the whole thing feels like a lesser version of the song we just heard. Thankfully, things do pick up on Deal With It featuring Khalees. The trap beats, the cute synths, the knowingly childish lyrics that are just lashing out. It almost has the beginnings of like a Melanie Martinez song, but I think what Ashnikko is doing here hits a little bit harder, especially with these bright, bold vocal lines on this glitzy chorus. I'm so over you. Plus that Khalees sample, I hate you so much right now. It's almost placed better in this instrumental than it is in the original it comes from. Plus, I think picking this particular line from this particular song from this particular artist says so much about Ashnikko's creative lineage, because on the next track, there's also a huge Neptunes influence on the production end. Slumber Party with Princess Nokia. There are so many awesome things about this one. The infectious vocal lines, the raw sexual lyricism, that Princess Nokia verse is very flirty, very fun, very witty. Then the vaguely Middle Eastern melodies that are popping up here and there in the beat too. And again, I do love how the instrumental is able to capture that old school Neptunes or Pharrell vibe, but present it in a slightly different way with Nikko's vocals. It's low-key, it's subtle, but also groovy. Drunk with My Friends, between its slurred lead vocals and heavily aggressive autotune, it does embody sonically the feeling of being sloshed. Sometimes the verses do leave a little bit to be desired, like I'm a devil with a halo, hit it for a minute, then I dip like mayo. But honestly, this track is not as low as a point as some of the songs to follow. Little Boy, not only does this one feature a hook that doesn't really hit, but between the vocal melody as well as the effects on Ashnikko's voice, the whole thing kind of sounds like a watered-down version of a Travis Scott song from the rodeo era, which is kind of hard to get past because it is just so derivative, as much as I fuck with the sentiment of the song's lyrics. There's also Cry with Grimes, who drops a predictably washed out and reverb heavy feature on this one, which I do think sucks some of the wind out of the song's sails. There's Nico's voice on the hook, which I actually think is fantastic. Just peak drama here, truly channeling that Evanescence or Linkin Park energy. But the super thin, crunchy guitars as well as the sputtering beat on this one don't serve as much of a foundation. I would love to hear Nico go in a heavier, more aggressive direction in the future, but maybe with just something better instrumentally. Then the ending of the tape I don't think is as strong as the start. Good While It Lasted is an attempt at a moody, spacious breakup ballad. Outside of the vocals on the hook, the whole thing came off a little bland. Then there is Clitoris, the musical, which I think a lot of hardcore fans will find hilarious and maybe relatable. And I definitely appreciate how theatrical it's trying to be with its jaunty pianos and very, very campy lead vocals. But simultaneously, the whole thing is just maybe a little bit too bitter. Cisgender, heterosexual men. The whole thing is like Ashniko is writing the musical equivalent to a Yelp review for Sex with Guys. And I don't know, I just find the whole thing frustrating. Not just frustrating from the standpoint of the track feeling a little annoying, but also just frustrated out of sympathy. Like, damn, how many bad sexual experiences have you had? This is awful. Generally, are men really this bad at sex? I mean, they may be. I can't say for myself. I've never had sex with a heterosexual guy. But I know there are a lot of guys out there who think sex is like a one-way street or look at porn as like a field guide. When in reality, I think a lot of the issues that this song addresses could merely be fixed by just people talking. Talk to the person who you're having sex with. Talk about what you're gonna do and understand what each of you likes and what you want to do. And, you know, as the whole thing is happening, keep the lines of communication open. And as Ashniko sort of insinuates at one point on the track, you could do your research too. There's lots of sexual related stuff on the internet, education-wise, that's, you know, not just like on Pornhub. But yeah, I came away from the song just feeling like, man, no one should be this sexually dissatisfied in 2021. There's no reason. Except on account of like social distancing and stuff. You could be sexually dissatisfied on account of that. So yeah, a bit of a weird finale on this tape in my opinion, but generally I did like it. I found there to be more highs and tolerable tracks than lows, for sure. But as I said, many tracks on this thing do show room for improvement, and I'm hoping to hear those improvements, especially those production-wise improvements, on her debut album when that drops. I'm feeling a light to decent 6 on this transition. Have you given this mixtape a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that upworthy link to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ashniko, Demidevil, forever.